Ja Morant back on the court yesterday in the Grizzlies' 130-125 win over the Rockets. Ja, for the first time in his career, by the way, came off the bench. He recorded 17 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists in 24 minutes. Shannon, how do you think he looked?
He looked like Ja. He made it explosive plays, had a nice and one. He had a tremendous dunk. He's as athletic as we've seen at that position in a very long time. I think Russ right now has that distinction of being the most athletic point guard that we've seen. But Ja, when it's all said and done, might have something to say about that, Skip, before it's all over. He made his plays, Skip. Triple J was extremely impressive with 37 and 10. Bane chipping in. As you mentioned at the top of the show, Skip, this is, at the top when we were talking about the Lakers, this is a very, very deep ball club. And Ja coming back, he'll blend in just nicely because he's going to have the ball. He said he wanted to, get back slowly into the flow of things, and I think he did a great job of that. And I think once he gets his normal allotment of minutes, you'll see his numbers increase, right? Last night he only played, 24 minutes? He's probably somewhere around 34 to 36 minutes on a nightly basis. So once he gets those minutes, the minute total up, he'll be just fine. But he looked like Ja to me. Tyus Jones, if you remember last year, Skip, when he was out for about 25 games, I think they won 20 of those.
They did.
Tyus Jones comes in. Now, he's not the scorer that Ja is, but he can facilitate an offense, doesn't turn the ball over because he's not going to do the spectacular. He's just going to do
one night against the Clippers at the Crib, Tyus Jones went off and scored, 20 in the third quarter?
But he had a triple-double a couple of nights ago, Skip.
He is really good.
He's really good. He's as solid as you need. He's totally different than Ja.
He is.
But he can run the offense. He's a very good three-point shooter, get to the foul line, make those. And so I saw nothing that would say, man, Ja didn't look like himself. He looked like himself, minus his normal allotment of minutes. And once that minute total creeped back up to where he was before he had this sabbatical, I think Ja be just fine. But he looked good last night. They looked extremely impressive. Yeah, they looked impressive, but they are playing the Rockets. And the Rockets, I think they're trying to steal Wembanyama from San Antonio. I think San Antonio forgot that they were trying to get this guy.
They're in a dead heat for the bottom.
They are, Skip. And so everybody wants that guy. But I thought Ja looked really good last night, given that he only played about 24 minutes.
Okay, this game was in Memphis, and it was, as you point out, against a Houston team that's now 18-55. 18-55. But I thought it was a great welcome back Ja night on all accounts for all involved. And he did get a predictable standing ovation when he finally did hit the floor late in the first quarter. Was I surprised that he pushed to come off the bench? Yeah, I'm a little surprised, though we've seen that trend start this year, earlier this year, when other stars have come back and said, don't start me, just sub me and let me ease back into the flow. So I was impressed. It did show a touch of, I guess you'd call it humility or presence of mind, where he said, I liked his quote after the game, I didn't want to come back and mess up any of that chemistry, because he said, I've been watching a lot of tape of how they've been playing last 4 or 5 games, and he was impressed. So he said, getting back into the flow, getting back into the offense was very important to me to be comfortable. My mental is very important to me now. Well, obviously, that's why he supposedly went away for a few days to whatever it was in Florida to try to learn how to cope with anxiety. And in this case, he said he used meditation. Maybe he learned it on his little sabbatical, meditation to calm the nerves that he was fighting before the game. And he readily admitted that I was fighting some nerves before the game. Well, usually Ja is just so out front, so full of himself that I can't even put nerves and Ja in the same sentence. I mean, do you look at him as a kid who gets nervous before a game?
No.
He doesn't appear, because he loves to play. And he's one whose body language, when he steps on the floor, says, I'm the best player out here, and I'm about to show you.
And I'm ready to go.
But no, he admitted, he owned up to, he volunteered after the game, I was nervous. So I thought, let me wait until late in the first quarter, and I'll still get my 24 minutes in. And yet, when he got back in, did he look like completely in sync? Not completely,
Right.
but he's been gone for a
He's
while.
been gone for, what, 8 games? So
Yeah, 8 games.
a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks.
All right, but remember last year he had long stretches. He was
Right.
having knee issues.
Right.
Because he flies too high.
Right.
And he's probably going to have knee issues his whole career. It'll plague him. But the point is, he hasn't been gone for 6 months, and yet he fit right back into the flow slowly but surely. And then when that dunk occurred, what time was it? It was 11:50 in the second quarter. If we could see that over Kenyon Martin Jr., poor kid. This is pretty vintage. Doesn't this look pretty much like that guy we knew?
Yep.
Whew. Yep.
I mean, the contact,
Whew. Okay.
still to be able to finish that.
That is Ja Morant. Okay. And yet when I first looked up and saw him come out on the floor, I was thinking, wait, he's got a mask on? And I forgot he was wearing a mask just before that happened.
Yeah.
Because he had some kind of a nose fracture. And he wore the mask, remember, at Denver
Right.
on the night in question
Yep.
when he at 5:20 in the
exactly right.
morning.
Yep.
Okay, so he was wearing a mask that night because the previous game also, I think against Houston, he had suffered kind of some nasal fracture. Okay, but when he came out with the mask, I'm thinking, wait, are you just going to wear the mask because you want to look like the Memphis villain? No, he
really
needed the
it.
mask. Okay, I got it. So in the big picture, they just looked really good.
They do.
Yet Houston hung in the game, and I'm going to, because we go back and forth about this guy.
The young guns,
Okay.
Martin Jr. and Jalen Green.
Okay, but there was no Dylan Brooks last night.
No.
And I got to tell you, we go back and forth about how good he is, but the stats tell you, and I'm talking about defensively, he is their tone setter on defense. And right now, he has moved up to 9th in individual defensive win shares. Think about that. That's top 10, 9th
Right.
in defensive win shares. It's pretty good.
Right.
It means, again, we watch him. You've watched him up close, obviously. Where is he the greatest? Is he the best in the league at on-ball defending?
Yeah,
on
he
the
ain't Gary
perimeter?
Payton.
Okay.
No,
not that
Jordan
guy.
and Kobe, some
he's
guys
not that
like
guy.
that. Right.
I got it. But I do think he does play the role of the heavy and the big bad bully and all.
So
those
he's
things.
the heel, and wrestling is called the heel. So.
He's the heel. And I think he is embracing that role.
Right.
But I think he sets a tone on the defensive end that didn't get set as well last night.
What about Skip? At this point in time, he's costing his team by missing games.
Yeah.
It's fine to be able to set the tone if you're there to set the tone.
Okay.
Now you're getting these technical fouls, and as they accumulate, the NBA takes you off the court. So at
And
what
it's sort of like it's like a fine line that you're tiptoeing on because you like the reputation of being that enforcer or
Right.
whatever you want to call that guy, and yet you can't cost your team a game, and he just did.
Exactly.
And it almost bit them. They were getting in some trouble
Yes.
down the stretch, but it helped, and Ja finished the game, and all is well. This team is also poised for takeoff. And by the way, they had won 6 of their last 7 without Ja. Now they've won 7 of 8.
Right.
They are a factor. They are a force. I still consider them, if I'm rooting against, I consider them more of a factor and force than the Denver Nuggets. I know Denver took them apart on that night in question.
Right.
Remember, Memphis was up 8 at halftime of that game at Denver.
Right.
This is the night of Shotgun Willies, right? Okay, so they're up 8 at halftime. Then Ja in the second half goes 2 for 10. 2 for 10. And when I saw the IG Live post, I'm saying, well, it looks like you're celebrating. What are you celebrating?
Yeah.
Because you blew the 8-point lead and you lost it by, wasn't it 12? I think they lost by 12 at Denver.
They end up being a
Okay.
double digits for sure.
It was
Yeah.
conclusive. You lost conclusively. Okay.
But Skip, I mean, if you're going to get, they probably have what, the second or third best odds? If you think the Suns have the best
In the
odds
West.
in the West,
Yeah.
they've got to have what right there behind them, second, third at worst.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get this kind of offensive production out of Triple J, and you know what Ja's going to give you, Ja normally gives you 27 a game. You get Bane giving you what he gives you. If you're going to get this kind of offensive production, let's just say you get 20, mid-20s from Triple J. Well, they're going to be tough. Because I believe Jackson should probably be Defensive Player of the Year, Skip. He's outstanding. He had another 2 blocks last night. And so he's the guy that he controls everything. He can guard on the perimeter, and you're not getting easy shots in the lane because if he's close by, he's coming.
Yeah.
And he's good at chase down also, so he can protect the rim. They're going to be a tough. If they don't have any injuries,
Yeah.
they're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a tough out.
I got it. All right, I got to ask you about this. We're going to delve deeper into it later. But last night, Father T. Morant and several members of Ja's family came to the game wearing hoodies that they had made for the game with a picture of Ja, Father, and Uncle with the word redemption on it. What did that say to Shannon Sharp? Redemption.
What is Ja? I mean, is it like what he's gone through and he's looking for redemption? I'm because that look, is that like from the game, like the back of me or something? Is that the hoodie? Is that?
I didn't think so. I thought it was T and Uncle. I think it's his uncle. I don't think it's you, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. But I don't know what redemption is. I mean, what is he redeeming? His basketball. I mean, you know, I did something. I'm confused. I don't know what Ja's getting redeemed from.
Okay, I can take it one of two ways.
Okay.
Just general personal redemption after what he went through to redeem himself for the city of Memphis, for the Grizzlies, for his team, for himself.
Right.
Or are you trying to suggest redemption because he was unjustly punished, right?
Yeah.
Well, I can't see how you could say he's unjustly punished because I thought he got off pretty lightly. All things considered, he's back after 8 games, and he did not lose his Nike deal. He lost the Powerade, but he did not lose Nike. And I think all things considered, it turned out pretty well for him.
And like I said, maybe they just put him on a probation period, Skip. They did take down the ads and say they're not going to run the ads. Maybe it's something that they revisit in a couple of months. Who knows? Maybe a year. And hopefully that's the case. Everybody gets to move forward. But like you said, maybe it's the redemption of, look, my son went through something. He's looking to redeem himself. He's not what he portrayed himself to be. And so now we can move forward. But that's the only thing. And I can take, I don't think, ain't no way they can fight he was unpunished unjustly considering the accumulation of the incidents that have taken place over the last 4 to 5 months.
5, all told, in about 6 months.
Because something happened this summer.
Okay. Here's Ja's quote after the game. That was my family's idea, the redemption hoodies. It's me coming back after some negative things have been said constantly throughout this whole thing, basically, year and a half now. How I felt, kind of like a redemption, obviously. It could have been worse. I got a second chance. So I'm having trouble reading into there. Yeah, negative things were said because
you did negative
brought
things.
it on yourself.
What about accountability? You see, again, he's pushing something was said. What about what you did? What about what you've done? Where is the accountability on your part? I got no problem with his family wanting to support him. That's what you should do. Family should stand by one another. But with lack of accountability and a lack of responsibility, there can be no change.
No.
Again, it's the things that have been said. What about the things that have been done?
Great point. Concur. Final line from Ja last night. I want to show who Ja is as a person. Every time an athlete goes third person and refers to himself by his name, it's a little concerning to me because do you have an identity crisis? Or are you or him? Or who's the real you?
We'll see.
Are you okay? We will see.
We'll see.
We're about to find out. Just watch.
A lot of folks hoping this